Hey there, Chad here from Chibi AI. In this video, I want to show you what you're looking at right here. On the left side, I have my article that I've written for the AI Content Dojo some time back. And my goal is to do something to it to make it more helpful and maybe rank better in Google based on Google's helpful content guidelines. Over here on the right, I have some notes, and in the notes, I have a whole bunch of really interesting information based off of what Google's criteria are and my posts. So essentially, I can look through this content on the right in my notes, come up with ideas that will help make this blog post better, hopefully rank better, but at least be more helpful and relevant in the eyes of Google. And in order to do this, what I did was I built an action to make it work and make it be something I can do on a repeated basis very easily, just essentially in a click. And I want to show you how it was created. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to my actions. I'm going to go to for sharing, and I'm just going to create a new action here. We're going to call it analyze blog post, and we'll just put Google here. We don't need to tag it or anything. This tagging is a way of organizing the action. For now, we'll just leave it like this. We can always come back and change that too. So we're going to add some tasks now. Okay, so Chibi actions are a sequence of tasks that run one after another to accomplish our goal. What I want to do is analyze the blog post, which is over here in my document right now. So I'm going to do a run prompt. And what this does is it will run a prompt to go and do something with AI, and then we can do something with those results after. So first things first is, let me just open up some of my notes here so I make this a smoother experience for us. And so what I'm going to do is in here, we're going to write a prompt that's meant to analyze what a blog post would be. So I'm just going to copy in something here, and then I'll explain it here. Okay, so analyze the blog post based on the given criteria. Provide actionable insights the author can take to improve the post according to Google's helpful content guidelines. Okay, so at this stage, it's a prompt where there's no criteria given yet, right? We're just going to, at this point, we're assuming that the AI knows. And that's probably not what we want to do. And so what we're going to do is we want it to analyze a blog post. Sorry, one more thing is we want it to analyze a blog post, and we want it to use given criteria. Well, at this point, the prompt is going to go over to the AI as is, and it has no idea what the blog post is, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some XML tags here, blog, probably just use blog, and then end blog. Now, the reason I'm using XML tags is because I know that I want to use a Claude 3 model, and Claude, you don't have to use the XML tags to sort of set up differentiators inside of your prompt, but it helps it, so I'm going to use it. And so here we got our blog post. Now, essentially, we need the contents of our blog post in here. Now, I don't want to copy and paste the blog post in here over and over again, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here, I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to do whole document. This is a variable that basically contains all the information that's in my document. So when this action runs, you can imagine all of this blog post, all 1,639 words, will end up right here for the AI to see. Okay, so now we need to give it some criteria. So let's go ahead and add a criteria section. Same thing. So we're setting up these labels essentially so that when this goes over to the AI, it's able to better decipher what we're asking for. And if they can better decipher what we're asking for, then we can get better results. So in here, I've set up a variable that I want to use. I'm just going to call it the Google. We called it the Google Content Guidelines. And that's because I don't want to have to write it all in here. And just in case I ever want to use the Google Content Guidelines in other actions and stuff, I decided to put it into a variable. And so let's go over to our variables here real quick. I got this SEO section with just this one in it. And I'm going to open this up, and this is what we've got in here. So what I did was I basically summarized from the Google Helpful Content Guidelines page I just summarized it and turned them into a series of sort of criteria checks. And these little slashes in front of here are just there to denote this is one, this is another, just to help the AI make a differentiation between them, so they don't all look like one passage of text to the AI. Anywhere where you can set up things like that to differentiate, you improve the chances. Not always, it depends on the model, of course, but you improve the chances that it can better pick each individual thing out. So these are all the criteria that I've got in there so far. Something about audience, expertise, trustworthiness, searchers' needs, that kind of stuff. So let's go back. You can imagine we've got all these criteria. Go back to our action. All that criteria is essentially right here now. And then what we'll do is we'll end our prompt with just an analysis label. Basically, we're leading the AI to finish or to start writing an analysis. We don't want anything else. We just want an analysis. And this urges the AI to take over and write that analysis. Okay, so this is Chibi, and the way that we control what AI we're using is in the settings here. Right now it's set as current role. If I look, the current role is the fantasy writer. I don't want to use that role for this. So what I'll do is I'll just change this to a certain role, and I'll set it as blank slate. And I'll show you that in just a moment. So why am I setting the role here? This is what the role looks like. Let me just go ahead and activate this one to you. So blank slate. All it is format bold and heading using Markdown. It's telling it to use the Claude 3 Sonnet model. I'm actually going to change that to Haiku. Haiku is their smallest, cheapest model, but it does have a 200,000 token context window, so it can accept a lot of text. And then if we want to control even further, we have access to control the temperature, maximum length, top P, and all that kind of stuff. This is, if you want to have more fine-grained control and do things, this is just how I happen to have this particular role set. Now, what is a role exactly? You can see here it's what AI model we're using. It's some instructions. In this case, it's a very small amount of instructions. Let me show you a different, oops, I closed it. Let me show you a different one. So fantasy writer, you are a fantasy story writer. Your task is to create creative fiction, write in a fast-paced, dialogue-driven style, so on and so forth. So you can see it basically ties a model, which then you can choose from any of the models that you've added to your account. Like I've got Cohere, I got Mistral AI, I've got Perplexity models. You have access to a ton of models inside of Chibi. I'm going to use, in this case, this one's set to use Claude 3 Sonnet. That's not the role that we're going to be using for this action, though. This is the one we're using for the action. And all it has in there is just how to format the text. And that's why I call it the blank slate. Sometimes I even remove this, but I provide no instructions in it. And that's just so that essentially the only instructions that are happening are based off of what we put into our prompt here. You don't have to do it that way. I actually recommend that if you've got certain ways of writing, certain formatting and style and tone, all that kind of stuff, you would put that into your role so that anytime you use that particular role, you'd get the type of content that you want. And that's one of the powers of roles, is that it's essentially a reusable package of what AI model and all the instructions like formatting and style and tone, all that kind of stuff that you want to pack into it, plus those AI settings, so that when you run these prompts or whatever, you can change roles on the fly and get different results for yourself. Okay, so we're here. We got the run prompt. It's going to now use, if we hover over this, it says Claude 3 Haiku. We know it's going to be that because we set the role to use blank slate, and that's what the blank slate role is using. It's Claude 3 Haiku. Cool. Okay, actually, while we're here, let's go ahead and set up a label on this so that we can better see at a glance what this particular task is doing. Okay, so this run prompt task doesn't actually write the contents anywhere. We need to do something with it. So let's go ahead and add another task here. I'm just going to go up here and filter by notes and then add an update notes. What this will do is it'll take the results from here and then write it into the notes section, which is here. and go back. Let's see if there's any settings we want to apply. I think we're good. We're just going to change this to send report to notes. Okay. And at that point, we essentially have an action that we can now run to get that type of content. So let me go into notes here. I'm going to delete these. And then we'll go back into our action. And we can just hit run right here. And just take a quick look. The whole document, which is all this, will use the Google Content Guidelines, which were from the variables, and then write that report. So let's see what happens. Now this can take a little time because it's sending over 1,600 words, and then the AI has to write up that report, which will probably be another 300 or 400 words. And okay, it's all done. Let's go to notes, and here we go. So it's got some information about the specific audience, expertise, trustworthiness. It's gone through and done it all. It even has some actionable insights down here. So these are things that we can do to improve this blog post based off of what the AI found. Now I ran that with Haiku. And if you're finding that the AI, you want the AI to be a little bit more robust, then you would change to the models that you prefer. Haiku is Claude 3, but it is like the smallest, fastest, most affordable model. And inside of Chibi, let me go to my account here under models. In Chibi, you have the ability to add tons of models. So if we go to new, I'm going to open router here. And what it'll do is you have access to all, let me just grab this little drag and just drag. You have access to all of these models. There's probably 100 or so of them, maybe more, I don't know. But you have access to all these models, and you can filter by name and stuff. So if you want Claude models, for example, you can do that. You probably want to put a 3 in there because I think they even have some of the Claude 2 models in there still. The ones that are darkened are the ones that are already in use. I've already got them installed. So Opus, that's the most powerful one. It's also quite pricey. So I don't have that one installed right now. I have used it, but it's not in there right now. But anyway, you have access to OpenAI models, AI21 models. Together AI is another awesome service that has some open source models that are really good. And then you have OpenRouter that I'm showing you here. You can just add all kinds of models, whatever you prefer to use, and then make use of it. So let's not remember that. That's not a password. It's my API key. And let's go back to our demo here. So in recap, what I now have is a reusable action. So I close this down, and I have this right here. Anytime that I need to analyze a blog post, I just put that blog post into Chibi, and then I click this button, and the notes become an area where I have information that I can use to improve my content. So the target audience, maybe, if I go down here to actionable, see, it says it wants me to cite some more credible sources, maybe get some user feedback that we can incorporate. That's pretty cool. All this type of stuff is something that would make the blog post better. And I think that you'd probably agree that now having a reusable tool to do this anytime I need to is pretty powerful. You can imagine, maybe if it was just that, if that's the only thing that you did, you could probably accomplish something, maybe 70% as good. I don't want to say as good. It's not the right way I want to say it. But what I mean is, since in this action you have full control, like you have full control over the post or the prompt here, and then when you go into your area here, you have whatever models that you need. You can also really fine tune the temperature and top P. These are different things to make sure that the results are exactly what you want. Instructions here that you can teach the AI how to write for you. You can really go into here, and if this wasn't precisely how you preferred it, then you can update those to exactly your liking, and it just becomes a tool that you can use. You can imagine that there's entire apps out there that are designed to analyze your blog post in certain ways. You don't have control. You just let them analyze it, and hopefully the results that you get back are what you would want to act on. In this case, you've built the tool. And I built the tool on video, but you can build the tool as well. And then you could even go in and you could go into your variables here and change this criteria to better fit your needs too. Or maybe Google comes up with an update to that criteria and you want some parts to be used and some not, because like right down here, for instance, engagement metrics. Consider engagement metrics like time on page and stuff. There's no information for engagement metrics in this blog post for this to use. So what I could do is just remove that. There's no way that the AI can actually take advantage of that unless I also provided it somewhere in this content for it to use. So things like that, you basically have that full control to create that tool. And then once you've got it tuned just how you like it, then anytime you want to get that analysis done, you just click this button and then you get your work done. Now you can imagine if you had all kinds of different things like blog writing, condensing text, expanding text, intros, you even got like social posts and stuff. Like if you just build out the tool set that you prefer and how you in ways that you write or how you edit or even how you analyze and improve and all that kind of stuff. Once you have your workbench set up, and that's why we call Chibi your AI content workbench, because once you've got your tools set up just how you like it, imagine how fast you can get your work done. You can get your analysis done. You can do editing and all that kind of stuff on the fly. In fact, let's do something here. Let me go back into this, and instead of just sending the reports to Notes, let's try something else. Let's do another run prompt here. And here, what we'll do is we'll turn that into prompts. And so let's just see. Let's go turn the actionable insights into a series of AI prompts that can be run to instruct AI to perform the actions. Very sort of direct and on the nose, I suppose, but we'll do actionable insights. Just do that labeling thing again. We got to make sure that AI really understands where we are and what each thing is, so that it can best formulate what we are trying to accomplish. So let's do AI prompts as like a trailing label there. Now, how do we get these insights into here? Those insights are generated here in step 1, right? So I'm just going to click here, and that copies the from task 1 variable. And I'll just put that right here. So now those results will get sent to the notes, but it also will be used here in this prompt, and then we'll get that. So let's go ahead and label this. We'll just call this one create AI prompts, I guess, something like that. Okay, so this is another run prompt. So what we need to do is figure out what are we going to do with it. And I think what we can do is we can let's just add it to clipboard. No, well, here's what we can do. We'll update the notes, and then we'll come into here, we'll go into our settings, and we'll add a separator. And then we'll say add prompts to notes. All right. And that should do it. And let's just add one more thing here. Let's go to let's do a search. We'll do a pop-up message, and we'll just say analysis complete. So we'll get a little pop-up when the action is done, and then we'll know we're done. So let's go ahead and run this now. Actually, let's go into our notes. Let's clean that up. So we got fresh set of notes. And run. So Haiku is now going out to do all that stuff. Now you notice that when I created the create AI prompts, I didn't change anything. So it's going to be using the current role, and that's also the same one anyways. So it's good to go. So after it gets done creating there we go, analysis complete, cool. After it gets done analyzing, updating the notes, it's going to create some AI prompts. Let's see how well it created AI prompts. Now this is just a test, so let's see what we get. We got some headings this time. Cool. All right, Oh, here we go. It did give us some prompts. So enhanced personalization. Write a section for the blog post that incorporates more personal anecdotes, examples, or case studies. Okay, it's trying. Yeah. I mean, obviously personal anecdotes and stuff like that, you can use AI to help you write them. If you try to use AI to write them for you without giving the AI any of your actual personal experience to work with, that's a little weird. But if you use a prompt and you also give the AI what your personal experiences are, it can use that to create them for you, no problem. Expand the depth. This is pretty cool. So this is a little bit more of an analysis type of thing. Nice. Research and identify relevant industries. Look at that. So that's very cool. So now we have an action that not only gives us all of our insights, but now it also gives us some AI prompts that we can use to potentially resolve some of those insights, the things that are lacking in our post based on those guidelines. So I think you can see, I hope you can see where this is going. This is just a teeny tiny action that can do the analysis and create some prompts for us and stuff, but there's no limit to what else you can do in this click, right? So you basically take these tasks here, these different things that you can do, and use these to build your own tools. And some of the tools that our users have created so far are just crazy good. We've got some users who can turn in, a Zoom meeting that turns into I think it's like a 2-hour Zoom meeting turns into like 24,000 word transcript for them. In a single click, they have an action that set up something like this. They have they put their transcript in the document, and they click a button, and that transcript gets summarized. They get an executive report created. It generates blog post ideas. It generates, I think it was 2 weeks or a month's worth of tweets. It does all of it for them in a single click. Now they go back through and they do some adjustments and changing to it manually too, some editing to kind of make sure that everything's really in line with precisely what they want. But just imagine that time savings. Something I think they said it took them like 3 days or so to do before. They're now done in like 20, 30 minutes instead, after all the editing and stuff even. And that's just so cool to hear. That's one of the real superpowers that these actions give you. Not only was she able to create an action that did that, but since the action itself, all these steps, they're all tuned and created by her, and they design the content, or they generate the content in a way that she wants it to be created. She's not at the mercy of whatever tools preferences are for her. She gets to create it exactly how she wants, which means that the results that she gets require less editing, so it's even more time saved for her. She can get closer to the results that she really wants to deliver for her boss and that kind of thing, which I can't even count how many times she's come back to say how Chibi saved her and Chibi made her so much better, and how her boss and the community that she works in have been just super impressed with the work that she's doing. So I hope that that this video shows you just a little glimpse of what Chibi Actions can do. This is creating an analysis based on Google's helpful content updates, but I honestly don't know what the limits would be. I've seen people create 22,000 word stories that go through all kinds of character development, plot progression, overall, like generating all the scenes and the chapters and everything, just in his own preferred way, in like just a few clicks, because he actually has it set up as a few different actions. They're not all just built into one action, but like in 3 or 4 clicks, he gets a 22,000 word creative fiction story. Just crazy stuff that some of our users have been able to do. And I hope that maybe you'll give us a shot, and you'll see that, or if you're already in Chibi, then you'll see that Chibi Actions can grow and grow, and you can become, as you get better creating them, you can start doing even more things with them. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know where that limit is. Honestly, it's kind of up to the creativity of everybody. So I look forward to seeing what you create. Don't forget in the in the stuff down below, there's going to be a link to the Chibi community where if you have any questions or anything, we'll be happy to help you out. And until next time, take care.